Boys, girls, all my tromboles out there, welcome back to the Model Nerds. I'm Joe, and I'm talking Fear the Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 5, titled Captive. And wow, this show's getting good. Season 2 has seen a huge jump in quality, in my opinion. And last week, Episode 4 was probably the best, not even probably, it was the best episode of the series thus far. Episode 5. Might give it a run for its money, though. Episode 5 was a very, very strong episode, and really kind of interesting for the future. I'm really excited to see what's to come. Again, we have some really good character moments with Nick and Chris. Let me just start off with saying that. Nick and Chris, I hated the character early on. I hated the character even in the first couple episodes of Season 2. I get it, though. I get what they're doing here. And they're telling a story with Nick and Chris. Similar age, similar kind of look to them. Very similar. But we see them and what this world is doing to them. And we see them going in completely different directions. And I keep referring to Nick as the Glenn of the show. He's fearless. He goes out and tries to help everyone. Where Chris is starting to become kind of the Shane. He's becoming, if we're comparing it to the original Walking Dead, where he's kind of this cold character, and we see it building. I mean, they're telling a very good story here, a very slow build story with Chris, and I love it. This is a character who, he's already had tragedy in this world. He's already had a loss that was very dear to him, and he's already put out a couple people who are about to turn. And in this episode, we see him put out someone. Not going to spoil who directly, but I will say that the actor is responsible for the song Beautiful Soul. So I think he did what a lot of people who heard that song 10 years ago wish they could do. It's a joke. But really, really interesting stuff here. And I want to see where it goes with these two characters. And I love seeing them interact because they've already evolved so many steps in a small amount of time. So when you see Nick and Chris interact in this episode, it's so much more interesting than in the past because they're already on their way. And I think they're going to be two completely different characters. One who tries to help everyone, another one who tries to put everyone out. Very withdrawn, whereas very helping. And I like that. I like that dynamic. I think that's an interesting story to tell it from within, and that it's going to be built over time in this way. So I'm very eager about that storyline. But we also saw Connor's group a little bit, and it was kind of a shipyard kind of deal. I mean, we saw the ship, and they were kind of on land. Very interesting visually for The Walking Dead, something we haven't seen before. And we saw kind of that setup and everything, what they're doing. They didn't even strike me as evil that much. Just, I mean, they're in it for themselves, but they didn't mind taking people on, as was the case with, I believe her name's Alex. I think she's gone through a couple different name changes. Her character, it was good seeing that story. It was good seeing her come back in that capacity. Just a shame that she was on the wrong side, I guess you could say. But something I really want to talk about, too, is Daniel. It was a very small thing in the episode, and I wish we got a little bit more of it, but I'm hoping we get a little bit more next week. And that's, he's hearing voices, but not in the way that Rick heard voices. When Rick heard voices originally, I thought it was kind of real. It was kind of weird. I mean, the phone rings. Yeah, the phone was going to ring in the prison. But it kind of had... It was kind of presented originally in this kind of realistic kind of sense. This, from the get-go, there's no one there. There's no one saying his name. He's hearing voices. But it's just... It was a little... Because the voice said, get the gun. Is that his conscience? I mean, what's the deal with that? And... I mean, this is just kind of joking around, but we see the teaser for next week, and they say something about Zodiac. If they start taking it in a direction where it's he's got some zodiac or something. He can hear voices because of that. I think I'm done with the show. I don't know. I mean, it was very, very interesting, and I think that's going to be the thing going forward that we'll have to keep our eye on as viewers. It was very small, so I don't know if they're going to kind of do another slow build here and kind of. I feel like that's the just the theme of the show is slow build. If they're going to just do this gradually, which I'd be okay with because this is a very interesting story. So if they can prolong it, I think if they tell it the right way, it can be very, very effective. And this is what they need to do right now. Their writing for the show has grown tremendously, and it's seen a huge change in quality with this season. We actually have interesting stories now. Strand is a very interesting character, and I want to see more with him. We saw him, Louise, I believe is the other character. We saw him kind of interacting with him a little bit with taking people over, still using currency, which is okay. Interested to see how that works in Fear the Walking. I mean, I guess you can say that any kind of society, like the saviors or something, would have currency internal to themselves, but this doesn't seem like an internal thing. It seems like more open. I don't know. It's very, very interesting. What we have at the shows, it's a very unexpected show because there are no comics. We don't know what to expect. We don't know any direction they're going in. I mean, next week, for all we know, they could go to the South Pole and be dancing with penguins. And are there penguins in the South Pole? I don't even know. And I mean, they could be dancing with penguins next week. We would have no idea. This is a very unexpected show because there is no source material for it directly. So that's where I'm going to pretty much end this week. I know I tend to ramble on with these reviews. The main storyline was very suspenseful and it was satisfying. However, is that it? I mean, Connor got bit. So they could always take the arm off maybe, or there's more, right? I mean, there were definitely more in that group. So where do you go from here? Are they just done, or do they come back? Do they want revenge? I feel like that would make more sense, especially Jack. I feel like would be mad at this point. So I don't know. Is it done? We'll have to see about that. But let me know what you guys thought of this week's episode. Captive, was it the best episode to date? Or are you still a fan of episode 4 more? Where do you think this is going? What do you think of this whole Daniel storyline with the hearing voices? Let me know anything that you want about Fear the Walking Dead. Subscribe because it only takes around that much effort to do so. And until next time, you have been traumatized.